I wish I was joking when I made that title, but no. That was actually something I saw quite a bit earlier. I was doing some shopping for my granddad, and yeah, there were people wearing their masks like this and wearing their masks like this. You know, not doing this, but you know, that or that, because you know, you need, apparently, because you need to wear a mask if you're out in a shop. You wear the mask, just not around your face. You know. Yeah, I think we all see it. It's just quite frustrating, isn't it? It's like, maybe don't even wear a mask full stop if you're going to do that. Yeah. What did they say, SC? I know that it's probably they're not worth the oxygen, but I'm kind of interested what their argument was. Yep, Tony, that is a good word for him, plonkers. But hello, everybody. Hello, Radiac Maniac. Sadly, Ace Taxi, you could probably get done for assault if you did that in a few places. But yeah, it is very tempting. You know, I almost wanted a cattle prod when I was going around the supermarket because of all the people just doing it. Cheers, Lord Tachanka. Yeah, it's the Radiac one. So yeah, over 3 Rontgen. But yeah, interestingly, there's something I can show you if you want to actually. I know a lot of you will know this already, but there's quite. I've done a video on this that'll come out in about a week. But I was testing it myself with a load of masks today we had around the house. You know, because I tend to wear proper respirators, not these. But because we had a few of these laying around, I was doing this test that you might be familiar with. You know. And that's how you know it works, to a degree. Well, it's a shame about the democracy part, isn't it? But I guess, you know, there's probably a reason in lots of Asian countries people actually wear the masks properly. But see, so yeah, it's literally one of those people, is it, that yeah, the globalists or whatever other group, you know, control the world, and that's, you know, that's why they're a loser, because it's somebody else's fault. Oh, there was one of them in the chat just now. I don't know about the KN bit. I know some masks have different kind of letters to mean what they're resistant against. Like there's ones that have like different oil and liquid ratings as well as like air. It's a Radiac. It's actually in the background there. Look, the Radiac. But yeah, it's the one with the goes to 3 Rontgen. Ah, Marcus says KN95 is a Chinese version. Thanks. Ah, thank you. That's actually useful to know. I didn't know that. Right, Richard? No, it doesn't have to be mask-related, crew. I think schools do need to reopen. I mean, the thing that sounds really stupid to me is like the university stuff, you know, where some students are going to be paying like whatever their $9,000 a year is to basically not even be able to go to uni or lectures. Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you, Bahanzek, if I'm pronouncing your name right. Yeah, what's the strangest reason, Ace Taxi, you've heard for people saying they can't wear a mask? I've heard anxiety is a reason, apparently. I'm exempt from wearing a mask because I have anxiety. That's a very strange thing, isn't it? So yeah, 17 grand to not even be able to do anything if you're an international student. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Oh no, I can't breathe. Yeah. I mean, they're going to struggle to breathe a lot more, aren't they, if they actually get corona, potentially. Oh, I need to put, just reminded me of something. To pop that back up. There we go. But yeah, it was just frustrating in the supermarket today because obviously I'd say 9 out of 10 people there had masks on of various types. You know, some people have the surgical masks on, some had like the bandana type things on, which probably don't do much. A couple of people had both masks and those face shield things on, you know, and then you had people that, you know, now and again that weren't wearing masks at all or just wearing them around their chin. Yeah, there was crap like that Victorious Wizard that was said before with other things, like even pre-COVID. Um, I think I've moaned about this a lot, but there was a time when there was like wildfires or something, and people wanted to know what masks to wear, you know, to like cut down the amount of smoke they were breathing in. And there was like some government agency that said, you know, like this wasn't in the UK, it was either like Australia or the US or somewhere, where they actually literally said something like, if you're not trained to wear a mask, wearing a mask is more harmful than not wearing one. So you're literally telling people it's okay to breathe in smoke fumes, and it's just kind of, you know. Cheers, James. I'm glad you like the videos. It's barely observed now, Marcus. It's like a lot of them still have all the tape on the floor, but nobody enforces it. I mean, I wouldn't want to say to a minimum wage, you know, shop worker they should enforce something like that, because somebody's going to end up punching them in the face, aren't they? But you know, over something like that. But yeah, lots of shops have the tape on the floor, but nobody sticks to it. Yeah, do you think it's to keep, for people who have beards? Do you think the masks are there to keep their beards like nice and clean? Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, Abdullah, that you get people that literally, you know, whinge about stuff like that. Yeah, neck beard protection. Reminds me, I'll need to shave a bit actually. But yeah, it's interesting. TXE Gaming. There was a lot of experiences in that one, like creepy stuff, you know, and lots of other co-workers either said they saw stuff, you know, or that the sort of warehouse creeped them out. And I said there could be a really logical explanation, like there's some sort of ultrasound that, you know, we can't hear, but you know it's there. But to me, you know, I kind of do believe that there's stuff that, you know, we can't explain with science at the moment, whether it be ghost, residual energy, poltergeist, all that stuff, you know. But yeah, there was certainly stuff that went on there, you know, because I definitely believe a lot of people who see ghosts are completely legit, thinking they've seen them, you know, like they're not making it up or whatever. But that doesn't mean that the ghosts are necessarily real, you know, it could be something else causing the thing. Yeah, exactly, Marcus. It's bullshit, isn't it? The thing about surgical masks. Although I was saying that, I do find it's easier to breathe in proper respirators because the airflow works better. Even if you have like a surgical type thing over the exhale valve. Just because I find with some of these, the main complaint I have about wearing a mask like this, if I've eaten food and I've obviously not mouthwashed or cleaned my teeth because it's not in the morning or the evening. So let's say I'm at work or something and I've been given a mask like this. I have my lunch break. I have like a coffee and a sandwich or something. You start smelling your breath and realizing how disgusting your breath smells. That's like my main complaint with one of these, that you smell your own breath. Like obviously it's not an issue in the morning if you've just cleaned your teeth or whatever, but partway through the day, I hate that. As in, I definitely prefer wearing real masks to those sort of masks. I doubt you'd get put on a watch list in the US, considering that the US is basically a country where you're allowed the First and Second Amendment and everything. Yeah, like that's the thing, Justin Vapor. I can't understand it because the thing is, I'm not going to take the piss out of people with actual mental health problems. But I'd have thought somebody with anxiety would rather wear a mask than not wear a mask. But for some of the people, I reckon it's just because they're told to do something, they're coming up with reasons to do the opposite. Yeah, well, the thing is, part of the problem with having an exhale valve, Oliver, is that obviously more air is going out that could, you know, infect other people if you were infected. But in theory, I do just want a mask company to make like a half face mask, which just has a filtered intake and outtake type thing. That shouldn't be too hard to do, and it would fix all the problems. Yeah, that's the thing, Ace. Yeah, like obviously, if they were put on a ventilator in hospital or whatever, I imagine it's a similar thing. It's like with respirators, you know, like gas masks. It's a reason that there's like very few types of beards that can be worn with them, because in general it breaks the seal. You know, there's a couple of masks that seal around there, so they'd be fine unless you've got like a big old Civil War beard. But yeah, that's stupid radioactive cow. That's literally them making money out of it, isn't it? Where my mum works, they have branded masks, right? I won't say too much because obviously I don't want to cause a stir or anything, but where she works, they've got branded masks. And when I did one of those tests, you know, doing that like with the lighter, like I showed earlier, the mask she has is nowhere near as good as like ones like this, you know. So again, it's you have to wear the masks we provide you, and those masks aren't as good as like just any kind of random mask. They've probably just been selling out Atom Cat Gaming. Let's have a quick look on eBay. But it is probably just a case of, you know, they're selling because Corona. There's an OM90 at the moment with bids on it for £31. There's a lot on bids actually at the moment for the random check masks. This wasn't the one you were after, but this is a good price. So, other than the postage cost, there you go. Yeah, they were saying that to my mum, the crazy egg, when I gave them the MSA 410, whatever it was called, you know, that 40mm MSA mask, just because, you know, when Corona first started happening, bear in mind this is before they said you should wear a mask, because I was just like, to all my relatives, literally wear a mask, I'll provide you with them. You know, they wanted to know where she got that, because it was, you know, like a good, obviously comfortable half-face mask. In theory, they do Griff in game, because some US police departments use them. It's just, I guess, lucking out, finding them when you want them. But Commando Store often get the M95/M110s in stock, and they're very good masks, similar to the FM12. If you like the FM12, you'd like the M95 quite a lot. The Scott M95 and the FM12 are actually pretty comparable in terms of quality and sort of design. But that's like the mask that the Finnish army used for ages, and I think they're apparently replacing now, when my Finnish subs told me. But they turn up on eBay now and again, James, like £20 to £30. Now, did it work, or was it like a non-working mask? But yeah, I've seen some stupid fashionable masks saying that, which look like they wouldn't even work, that, you know, cost silly money, because of all the people going like, oh, if I'm forced to wear a mask, I'm going to buy a really overpriced mask as a status symbol. It doesn't even work, you know, where they could actually buy a proper respirator for that price. Yeah, I think it's personally, Justin Vapor, I'm more kind of worried what's going to happen with the economy when all this is over, because obviously it's bad enough that there's this pandemic, but, you know, hopefully we might be in a, you know, the sort of group of people where if we get it, we wouldn't get it too badly. I know some people have probably serious underlying conditions on here, and I wouldn't advise people catch it, you know, in case they do have complications and whatever else, or long COVID, as they call it, you know, you have problems long after it's gone away. Why was Justin Vapor timed out? He didn't need to be timed out, Marcus. He was saying a serious thing. He was saying that, you know, it's more sensible to wear a mask and get Corona. That's what he was saying. Annoyingly, I can't untime out people, by the way. So if a mod times somebody out, I can't undo that. I can unban people if a mod bans them, but I can't actually untime out somebody. Yeah, there's probably still a lot of masks that turn up for good prices. I'll tell you what, for anybody in Europe, let's see if I can find you any well-priced masks still. There are BEM 4GPs for 40 quid still at the moment. Yeah, S. Frankish is a good seller. I've bought from them loads of times. I don't sell masks myself. Now and again, I might do a private sale to somebody if I've got a particular mask they want. But for the most part, I just collect them. But yeah, that's a pretty good price considering how stupidly overpriced a lot of masks are at the moment for the BEM 4GPs. Oh, is that the one with the drinking tube on that doesn't work? That's interesting. That one looks like it's still got the drinking tube on it. So you might have to plug that up. But yeah, those are the Scott Sperians have now gone up to 50 to £100, where they were like £30 a while ago. That's annoying. The MSA hours have gone up from like £30 to £70 now. There's French ARFA masks being sold as Polish MP5s, and they're clearly not. You could buy a M9A1, an old-fashioned US M9A1 for $26.99 on UK eBay. It's actually cheaper than the crappy Yugoslav M1s. So there's some S10s at the moment with bids on them for about £30, but I imagine they'd go up a lot higher. For anybody wanting a cheap mask, it seems B-Store's got a load of the MC1s in again. Hang on, let me find the right tab. The thing is, if I actually wanted to make a load of money now, I could just sell off a load of my masks. It's just I don't really want to, you know. But, you know, I could get that bunker a lot quicker at the moment if I sold off all the masks. But, you know, I didn't really want to price gouge masks and sell them for, you know, people who are desperate to have masks. I wouldn't say the person in the US is a bit too worried about the civil war, because if you've seen some of the stuff that's been going on with some of the rioting and that, I'd be very scared about civil unrest in the US and other places. I think as the economies tank more and more due to the virus, I think there is going to be a lot of looting and shit like that, you know. Daryl, I'm trying to think if there's anything you could put in there to make the nose bit smaller. You can buy silicone adhesive, and you could do that to like put essentially more rubber into the mask if that would help. TXE Gaming, between probably £20,000 and £30,000, depending on how much restoration costs goes into it, and, you know, a few other factors. Yeah, well, I think if you're worried about getting through your chin but not your nostrils, you might need full NBC gear. Oh no, Cookie Clicker's got one of those clicking things on there, so I'm going to have to constantly keep just pressing my phone. I think, yeah, it depends. Now, the problem I found in the UK, Radiac Maniac, is, at least, I know you're in Canada, but I found in the UK the main issue is that quite a few places that sell masks for reasonable prices sell out very quickly when they get them into stock. But there are at least now the like a few people have said, a few of the people who bought loads of masks like price gouge on them are now having to sell them at essentially at a loss, which is good. So you can get some of those cheaper. But again, all right, Hype. Remember, if somebody's doing an at sort of comment, they need to at the person, because otherwise it makes no sense if you're sort of asking a random question to somebody that's not me. But yeah, what was that site Marcus recommended recently that had all the PPE on? I can't remember. I bookmarked it, but I can't physically remember what the site was called. But right, Justin, it would depend on what postage sort of thing they put it on. Safety Supply Company, thank you, Marcus. That was the one, Radioactive Cow, yet as well. You both got it at the same time. Yeah, check them out, because Marcus linked them a few times before, and they had actually good price masks in. But yeah, say you're buying something that's coming via standard post, Justin. Like, you know, say it was from the UK and it's sent by a Royal Mail to the airport, and then when it gets to Canada, it's delivered whatever the Canadian Postal Service is. It would probably be, in theory, if you live close to a big airport, it could literally be less than a week in theory. But a lot of the time at the moment, you find stuff gets stuck for ages waiting for the flight, essentially, you know, where it's like 2 or 3 weeks where something's just sat in an airport, you know, or being logged in at each end. probably the people doing this, Alex, although that's probably not as bad as people wearing no mask at all. But yeah, this or this probably annoys me the most. Just because, you know, if somebody at least doesn't have a mask, they've got the excuse of not having a mask on. But when you've got a mask on, but then you're wearing it in a way where it doesn't do anything. That's all right, Justin. But yeah, there are priority services. Obviously, if somebody buys something on like a priority mail thing, sometimes it's a bit faster. But yeah, I found at the moment, sometimes, you know, when it's moving through the two postal systems, going from one country to another, it can be quite fast. The main issue is, you know, the bit between where it essentially gets put in the cargo hold of a, you know, commercial flight. That's where it can take absolutely ages at the moment, because of, you know, like less flights at the moment because not as much travel. That's good hype. Is that because it's being enforced, or just people realizing it's not, you know, it's a stupid thing to not wear your mask properly? It depends if you can wash it or not. When people say not to wear the same mask twice, I think they literally mean like medical people wearing surgical masks twice, which you shouldn't obviously do because of cross-infection and that. But if you have a mask like this, just wash it yourself when you get home, you know. OK9 says, does rubber degrade when it's often in contact with alcohol? I don't want to destroy my energy smart. It depends on the type of rubber. In theory, some rubbers might be worn down by rubbing alcohol, or whatever, but decent rubbers like butyl and whatever don't, because they're designed to be, you know, withstand horrible kind of chemicals. So, but yeah, as Marcus says, you can use soapy water. There's also, well, it depends, Brad. Simply wearing a good mask isn't going to make you ill, unless you've got something, you know, yourself that you then give back to yourself. But there was kind of a big Q&A, not Q&A, like FAQ thing, wasn't there, done with masks recently? Was it Dr. John Campbell that did it? It was one of the channels like that where they basically explained all the stupid myths people believe in with masks. You know, like it cuts down your blood oxygen and stuff like that. I still need to do that for a video because somebody asked me to do that. You know, put the oximeter on and stuff like that. But yeah, as Mark said, you don't want to be wearing the same sort of cheapo surgical mask. But if it's a cleanable mask, clean the mask, you know. You certainly don't want to get dirt and mold on a mask and then wear it, because yeah, that would be bad. But yeah, I often use wet wipes, actually, like, you know, the kind of sanitizing wet wipes with masks to wipe out the inside. Why does somebody keep bringing up politics when we've said no politics? But yeah, please don't bring up politics. We sometimes briefly say about politics stuff on here, but we don't actually, you know, chat about politics on purpose on here, because unless it's stuff really directly corona related, it makes people argue with each other constantly. All right, see you, James. Which ones, Justin? As in the knockoff 3M filters? If so, I'd say no. At least not. Some of them are all right, the ones that have like paper heaper style designs, but some of the Chinesium sort of filters are pretty awful. The 40mm ones, right? It really depends. So the ones like Hype sent me, like these are actually pretty good. These filters, these are essentially like proper filters. These ones are fine. If it's like the little flimsy plastic ones, then no, they'd be pretty crap. So yeah, it's really going to depend on which filters they are. Again, that's like the thing with China. They make some good masks, they make some bad masks. They make good filters, they make bad filters, just because they produce so much stuff. My highest range radiation detector, my DP75 goes to 500 Rontgen. I think one of, hang on, I've got it in the room. I can actually give this a quick test by turning this plasma ball on, although that won't necessarily max everything out, but I have a feeling, I'm not sure which one it is, it might be this one, but I have a feeling one of these goes up to several sieverts, you know, to probably the equivalent of like 10,000 Rontgen or something. I know the accuracy of them's pretty bad at that range, so we don't want it on dosing, we want it on rate. Obviously it says 0 at the moment, but let's put it next to the plasma ball and see if it goes crazy. Oh, this one isn't screwing up being on the plasma ball. That's unusual. Oh, it gave me a shock through the plasma ball. Right, this one, I think it's meant to go really high, but actually it seems pretty good in the sense it doesn't false fire on the plasma ball. But this one, all right, it was on 0.9 microsieverts then, 0.09. Oh, it's had a fail message then, but yeah, this is going several millisieverts. But yeah, I think in theory some of my Geigers go up to you know, like over 500 Rontgen, but it's hard to say because the thing is I have no way of actually testing them up to that level, and yeah, that is good Radiac Maniac if they actually look after their staff properly and give them proper masks, not, you know, here's a little bit of fabric with our company name on it, which we had made as cheaply as possible. You know, make sure you wear it to advertise us, kind of thing. Sadly, those Geigers don't measure pain in the arseum, but I'm sure there's meters that probably do measure that. Yeah, well, I wanted to this year, Alex, as I've said quite a few times, but, you know, Corona happened. But yeah, I will at some point. No, the DP75 goes to 500 Rontgen. It's the same as like with a DP5 kind of thing. It's got the multiplier ranges, and then it's got the 0 to 500 range. I originally thought it did go to 2,500, and then I corrected that in a later video because it's got a weird scale set up on that. Because the Polish did a thing where they have like 550 on it. They've got like the top end on each of the scales. I've got a lot of masks, Radiac Maniac, but yeah. Do you mean the 3M 7500? Is that the one? What Doomsday device? Which one are you looking at? Those. That goes to 500 Rontgen as well. Actually, saying that one, this big ionization chamber. Those go up to 300 Rontgen or centigrade. That goes to 200 Rontgen or rads. That's 200 Rontgen, isn't it? That one. The highest meter I know of that goes to a really, really high reading. Well, the CDV 715 and 720 both actually up to 500 Rontgen. But the CDV 718 and whatever the US military version go up to 10,000 Rontgen. So that's pretty insane. But the thing is, those are the sort of measurements where once you're at that kind of level, I don't think it really matters what the Rontgen per hour sort of amount is because you'd be dead within an hour regardless. I suppose it's helpful to know, you know, is it 500 or is it 10,000? Because it means could you survive there for a minute or could you survive there for, you know, like 30 minutes? But, you know, when you literally just want to run if you're getting into like the kind of hundreds with Geigers or, you know, dosimeters, because that literally means within an hour you're going to get radiation sickness at best. I don't think taking a selfie of the elephant's foot is a good idea. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of kind of like this maxes out at 1 Rontgen per hour or 10 millisievert. Because yeah, a lot of ones that are kind of more for monitoring samples aren't designed to go up to really scary levels because, you know, you shouldn't really be getting those levels in a lab. You know, again, this was the whole thing with the 3.6 Rontgen thing with Chernobyl. It was because those were low-level meters designed to be very good at detecting like tiny radiation leaks. They weren't ever designed to go up to, you know. Anybody who's a fan of the channel should know it's the CT12 unless they're lying. For the people who have just joined, don't ask about politics and don't say which country's better out of these countries, because then it just becomes a shit-flinging match. Although I doubt I have any North Korean viewers saying that. Is that the guy who exposed himself to hundreds of Rontgens of that X-ray tube? If so, it's like, what the hell was he thinking? But, yeah. Can you visit Fukushima? I mean, technically, you could wander into, I suppose, the radiotherapy ward in the hospital and potentially come face to face with a very, very active bit of radiation. When I went to C-scale, it was actually pretty clean, unlike it was in the 80s. So that's not the case anymore. Probably some of the bomb test sites. I mean, if you went to the Bikini, like Bikini Atoll, where the Marshall Islands are, there's a lot of just dumped nuclear stuff there that the US dumped. There's actually like a big concrete dome that's leaking now, where they just basically blew up a nuke, bulldozed all the remnants of different nukes into there, and then just concreted over it. No atom cap, unless you contaminate it and can't decontaminate it. But radiation itself doesn't actually make things radioactive. It only can contaminate things. You need neutrons to actually make stuff radioactive. So like if I was holding a Geiger in my hand, assuming that radioactive dust didn't get all over it, I took a reading, then I walked into somewhere that wasn't radioactive, it would go back down to background level. That's interesting, radioactive coverage. Yeah, shame if it doesn't do it with COVID. But yeah, it's all very interesting, like radiotherapy and everything and all the sort of radiations used. Saying that, though, the dosimeter I was holding up not very long ago, the one that wasn't getting a false reading on that, I think I can get that to read beta, so I might, there it is. Let's see if I can get that to go up. So let's go back to that mode, and then I think if I pop this here, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. We won't have that constantly doing that, but yeah, that's my little Polish coin. That's very interesting. I don't think this messes with the webcam, does it? No, I suppose because it's beta, not gamma. No. It's a shame the EU ruins everybody's fun by having these removed from all the old Geiger counters. I've got a lot of 1980s Soviet gear. Is there any Soviet gear in particular that interests you? But yeah, I've got quite a lot of old Soviet stuff. I don't really know, because even bad gas masks are interesting to do videos on. I'll check it out, hype, when it's actually properly released over here. At the moment, I don't think cinemas are really reopened. Well, they're technically reopened, but they're not, kind of thing. Especially now that places with more than 6 people gathered have to be, like closed, or you can't, Not really Afghanistan related stuff in Mori Samurai, just more like old Soviet Geiger counters and stuff like that. Well, if you cut the ion chamber up in a CDV 715 Radioactive Maniac, it's not going to work properly because it's a pressurized ion chamber on the 715 and 720. I see a hype. Like I said, if I want to measure alpha radiation from stuff like that, I put them inside that one, because you can take the bottoms off of those and then you can literally put, you know, radioactive samples straight inside the ion chamber. But yeah, night hype. No, I don't know what the camo used in Metal Gear 2 was. I know in Metal Gear, it's in 3, isn't it? Snake Eater, you can pick a load of camos. Oh yeah, that's the point of these dosimeters, is they go off loud when they go off to let you know you're being irradiated. No, well, in theory, the 450 could, because it's actually an open air ionization chamber. But you'd have to like cut all that foil up to do that, which I obviously don't want to do. Let's just put this on a moment. I'm gonna have to change the batteries in it again. The annoying thing with this is oh wait, no, it has turned on now. I think this might be one of these things that actually, you know, drains the battery even when it's not being used. So I'll let it drop back down to the thing, and then I'll put the strontium 90 on it. But yeah, the issue is with some of these things is they drain the batteries even when they're not in use, hence we have to open the battery compartments. Obviously, you don't want the battery to leak either, but I hate electronic devices where you literally can't keep a battery stored in it, because within a day it's drained the battery, because it's almost like being turned on when it's even turned off. Yeah, NATO masks. NATO filters are for NATO masks. So basically any modern Western, you know, like any 1960s forwards, you know, like Western masks in Europe and America. It certainly wouldn't be a bad idea as far as I'm aware, Iron Man. You definitely want something sterile covering them up, because they'd be very easily get infected. Right. This is dropping down almost now to background levels. These sometimes take ages to get warm up enough to go completely to background, but so there we go. That's just over background. Let's put the strontium 90 on it. If it focuses, it's quite a hard display to read on that one sometimes. What's that? That reckon it's 30 odd millirontgen per hour. Don't know if it's going to give a higher or lower reading depending on where it is in the ionization chamber. But yeah, if I didn't have to take all the screws up, I'd open this up to show you. But it is just literally like a little cheapo cardboard ionization chamber in there. But I like ion chambers because they're you know, if you get a sensitive one, they are actually quite cool. And when you say a Soviet monkey mask, do you mean the Shums? If so, they turn up on eBay. And that's the hamster, isn't it? The PBF. If anybody keeps wondering why I'm just doing that, it's because I'm putting the strontium 90 away from me. When I'm sitting in the chair, I don't want that sitting on the desk just shooting beta rays into me. I'm glad, Sad Putin, that you enjoy the videos. But yeah, can't remember what we were talking about with coronavirus type stuff. Oh, for somebody who asked me about it ages ago, I did have a look through the flare at the strontium 90, and sadly it isn't really hot enough with a little bit of strontium 90 that you can see it's you know, warmer than anything else in the room. I think if you apparently have a big chunk of strontium 90, it's quite visibly warmer than other stuff using a flare. Well, I don't think there'd be much point in it, OK9, because then you'd be killing people twice. I'm not doing that for contamination reasons. The DP63 thing I have taped up in a plastic box now, and it doesn't come out. The Chinese strontium 90 is stronger, and I did it in a video. Radiac Maniacs, we just watched the video where I tested it with a load of sources. Fish and chips, as we were on about earlier, but like you said, there's not always good fish and chips. I like stuff with liver, actually, but a lot of people don't like liver. I'm trying to think what British foods I actually like, because a lot of British foods are kind of like rationing foods, as like Mike says, that they were designed just so people could eat what they had rather than being like delicacies. You know, what's when people, oh, British food shit, it's because, yeah, it was designed to be just kind of calories. Bangers and mash, Christmas pudding. There's those people are saying. No, I had fish and chips with my granddad earlier. What's wrong with liver? I like liver. Nice grilled bit of liver with some gravy, potato. Yeah, kidney's nice as well, Richard, isn't it? Yeah. I don't understand why some people don't like offal. I mean, I'm assuming a lot of the people that don't like offal actually haven't tried it. Not if you cook it properly. How big's a chicken liver then? It's probably not very big, but like a lamb's liver is fairly big. But you know, you cook it nice, it's a tasty thing. I don't think I've ever tried heart, although you can have heart. But oh, okay, yeah, it's the British Mark II helmet, yeah, which is the World War II Brody, but yeah. Is Spam originally British or is it American? I'm gonna have to look this up. Spam meat. It comes from Minnesota, so that's not very British. Yeah, spam's American, so that doesn't count on British foods. I mean, obviously, full English breakfast's pretty good. But you know, fried bread, that's nice. Fried bread with some fried egg, sausages, bacon, baked beans. Yeah, I'm trying to think what other sort of British foods there are that are actually cottage pie and shepherd's pie nice. I don't know if they're technically British, but they're very basic. It's just kind of like, you know, gravy with mincemeat and potato. Anglicised curries, what, like chicken tikka masala. But yeah. Was does what I need to actually buy some proper glow in the dark powders and try them with radioactive stuff. I've never done it, Radioact Maniac. But yeah, at some point I'll buy one of those ones that should react to radiation and test it. Hash brown, yeah, really well cooked hash browns are lovely, aren't they? Yeah, black pudding as well. They're in the full English, can't forget those. Farley's rusks, now they're nice. I haven't had them in yonks though. No, Marcus, I think what he's on about is the ones that basically like replaced radium, you know, and stuff like that. But in theory, some of the powders that are excited by light are also excited by radiation. So you can make glow in the dark stuff that charges via light. You know, glow in the dark by putting radioactive source near them. I wouldn't put air freshener in an old lighter because you'd probably damage it. You should just be able to literally buy lighter fluid in like anywhere across the world. It's really common stuff. Yeah, loads of good beef dishes, aren't there? Oh, pasti's good British food. Unless the Cornish don't like to be considered British, do they? Because they like to pretend that they're their own nation, the nation of Cornwall. But pasty, yeah, you can get like loads of different types of pasty, can't you? It's similar to like what's that Polish thing that's similar to pasty? Is that pierogi? I'm gonna have to look up pierogi now. Yeah, pierogies are sort of similar to pasty. But yeah, if you have really good pasty, yeah, pork pies are nice as well. Scones, cream, you know, cream tea, scones with some jam and you know cream on them. One I really like. Have you ever tried? Is it called hard cake, like Cornish hard cake? That's quite nice. That's similar to sort of a scones. Welsh cakes are really nice as well. The Romanian M85 doesn't look anything like the French M51. The Romanian M85 looks like the German M65, and that's because it's a kind of a copy of it. Let's look up saffron buns, because the problem with some of the foods I like is a lot of supermarkets don't do them, and then you have to spend. Oh yeah, I've had those before, but yeah, Welsh cakes are nice as well. They're a similar thing. You have to put melted cheese on it as well as the baked beans. You can't just have baked beans on toast. You have to have the toast. You then put the cheese on it, melt the cheese, and then you have the baked beans on top. Oh yeah, mince pies are brilliant. I don't know if they're technically British, but yeah, around Christmas time, put them in the microwave for like 10 seconds. There was a place I was at once, and they did giant cherry bakewells. Like, you know, like they were like 1,000 something calories, because they were literally like that size of a cherry bakewell. Why don't the independent fuck off then? The thing is, the XL valves are fine as long as they're covered, but the thing is, like, I'm protecting myself wearing that mask, and considering that some people don't even wear any masks whatsoever at this point, I think that's more of a problem than somebody wearing a respirator that has an XL valve on it. I don't know grey music, probably over 150. Too many is the answer, as Marcus says. Marmite is amazing. Yeah, I can never understand people that don't like Marmite. I know it's an opinion thing, but I really like Marmite. I've never tried Vegemite, though. If you have a question, ask it. Don't say I have a question. All right, Mike, it's turned into a food stream now. We were on about corona and radiation for a bit, and now we're talking about good British foods. I was saying to people on here that, like you say, like a lot of British food's based around rationing, isn't it? Like making use of what you had. That's why it's not like really fancy stuff. Yeah, I go for the full face panoramic just for the extra protection. Well, we could talk about alcohol, and I'm off the booze tonight, but I've not heard of them. Do they have different names in different places, Radioactive Maniac? Yeah, that's the thing, Claire. Just wear a surgical mask over the exhale valve or whatever of a regular mask, and then you've got the you're protecting yourself and you're protecting other people. Gin Dobry, says Zul Marianne. We were on about pierogies a bit earlier when we were talking about food. That was a great idea of yours, Rich, making the swords from the weed slashers. They protect you a little bit from the smoky light, but they're not going to protect you from carbon monoxide. You can actually buy the fire escape masks that are like designed to work for a limited time that are better than gas masks for that, which have like some sort of chemical reaction in the filter. Yeah, exactly, Mike. I think a lot of people forget that, don't they, when they start whinging at our cuisine. It's like, yeah, if you want some fancy French thing, eat the fancy French thing, but our food was practical food for poor people. I like the Radioscan Nirvana. Just bear in mind the Radioscan, the battery life on it isn't all that good. If you tell it to auto turn its screen off, they do last a lot longer, the batteries in it, but it's not as good as a Therapy or like a GMC 500 for battery life. I'm sure there is lots of good rustic French stuff down here. It's just you know, you get all the people going like, oh, there is a goose, or they have force-fed the goose in a horrible way, which makes it très bien, delicious, you know. DP75s are good as long as you don't drop them. Apparently they there's probably different filters that come with grey music, but yeah, if you've got an NBC filter on it, it's going to block vapors, which are like smells. Oh yeah, Hunter's chicken's very good. I like the chicken where they've got the bacon on it as well. You know, like the chicken with some sort of cheese sauce with bacon on it. But yeah, the DP75s though, I'd say is overall better than the DP66. It's still got a couple of the flaws the DP66 has, but the DP75 is more compact, and you know, has a wider range. It has much better GM tubes in it. The really interesting thing about the DP75 is it uses 2 domestic Polish Geiger tubes. It doesn't just use the Soviet SBM20s like the DP66 does. Yeah, well, it could also drop a radium watch and do that. Was the goat happy you fed it peach? There's some types of duck that are quite nice as well, aren't they? Because duck's a bit fattier, a bit like pigeon. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there's a load of British foods that I'd like that I will completely think of as soon as the stream ends. I'm gonna go on Sainsbury's website. I know Sainsbury's isn't like the best place to get food, but I'm just gonna have a look on like their British dishes. You know, where they have in the groceries. So let's go to ready meals, if I can work out how the bloody site works, because they're like trying to show you all this fancy stuff. Do honey roast peanuts count as British food? They're probably not, but and honey roast cashews, just because it's like, you know, us doing stuff with it. But anyway, where's the ready meals? Yorkshire puddings, they're good. Why can't I just find a ready meal section on here? That's what I'm looking for, just to go through all like the. I'll just search list of British dishes because I'm interested now. List of English dishes. All right, there's some very strange things on here. Bedfordshire clanger. That looks all right. Bangers and mash, obviously. Chicken tikka masala. Yeah, funnily enough, that's not actually an Indian or Bangladeshi thing. It's an anglicized curry. But yeah, if nobody's ever had a proper chicken tikka masala, a properly made chicken tikka masala is really nice. Yeah, spotted dick was mentioned earlier. Cobbler and beef Wellington, as a few people said. Oh, cobbler's quite nice, isn't it? Yeah, bubble and squeak. Black pudding. I really like black pudding, but a lot of people find it disgusting. It's essentially blood sausage. There's faggots, but for you Americans, that doesn't mean anything to do with an offensive term for homosexuals. It's literally like an actual thing. But yeah, fish and chips and full English breakfast are obviously on here. There's lots of variants of sausage. But yeah, the pasties on here, because obviously if they do it this year, because I know a lot of things are changing this year. Oh, we have to mention Greg's, don't we, when we talk about English food? Steak bake. But yeah, because you get good protein from eating animals. I'm a massive fan of animals, and I'd say that, you know, animals should be slaughtered ethically, but I'm certainly not a vegetarian. You know, we are omnivores. That's why we have teeth that are shaped like that. You know, we're a bit like dogs. We eat stuff that's not meat and meat. The thing is, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan and you're not preachy and you live with it, you know, and you do all that, and, you know, power to you. It's just I can't stand it when people get preachy. Yeah, pork pies. Yeah, it's like pigs are really intelligent, and it's a shame, isn't it? Because they taste too good. The amino acids in plants aren't as good as the amino acids in meat. Yeah, but not the predators, not the omnivores. The herbivores get their protein from the thing, and we're not herbivores. Anyway, let's have a look at some more of these things we're looking at. Oh yeah, anyway, what I was saying about the pasties was one of the pasty companies, I can't remember which one it is, do around Christmas time, they do a cranberry and turkey pasty, which is actually really nice. There's the steak pie dated from 1303 on here. Sunday roast, of course, Sunday roast's on there, but we were sort of talking about that earlier, weren't we? Apple pie? Apparently apple pie is English. Oh, I always associate apple pie with Americans, but apparently, you know, banoffee pie's on there as well. There's bread and butter pudding, but I fucking hate bread and butter pudding. Christmas pudding, though, I like. Eccles cakes, yeah, they're nice. I bet some of the things on here are going to have, like, offensive names that you can't even read out now because of how stuff changed. Jam roly-poly, that's nice. Mince pies, as we said. There's quite a sort of load of just, you know, different flavoured cakes that are quite nice. That are on here. Oh, yeah, trifle. Victoria sponge. Yeah, lots of... I'm getting rid of the whinging vegan, or whatever the fuck he is, because, like I said, I don't... All power to you if you're not preachy about it, but if you don't think humans are omnivores, you're an idiot. And apes also eat meat. Did you know that? Monkeys hunt animals and eat them. But the thing is, like I said, I know people that are vegans, but the people I get on with who are vegans are not preachy about it. They just don't eat meat because they consider it unethical. All power to them. As soon as you start whinging at other people, you're being a dick. You know. But yeah, certainly don't make up pseudoscience that humans weren't designed to eat meat. You know, oh, but animals don't eat meat. Yes, they do. Lots of animals eat meat. Lots of animals are omnivores. Hello to everybody coming on. We're going off in a minute, but yeah, monkeys. Yeah, there's a lot of animals that are cannibals as well. You know, and I don't think it's a good idea to adopt that from them. You know. Yeah, there's definitely herbivores, aren't there, that will eat stuff if it's easy enough for them to catch it and they can manage it, like you're saying. Like, the thing is, even when we've had pet birds, you know, that mostly eat seed, a lot of them will eat insects if they can. You know, birds quite like eating insects, you know, like spiders and whatever. If you mean monkeys, Marcus, yes, monkeys definitely hunt down, monkeys and apes definitely hunt down and kill creatures and eat them. They're pretty vicious when they rip them apart. But yeah, like, the thing is, like, most animals are omnivores, and that's why it's quite annoying when you get the sort of vegan people going, oh, no, everything was designed to be vegetarian. It's like, no, the majority of stuff eats both plants and meat. There's some very well-made Italian ones, but we can't really buy them over here due to, well, we could, but how our laws work, a lot of retailers won't sell them. I found with a lot of the 3M masks, they go just under my chin, which I don't really like. I prefer masks that actually sit like that if it's a half-face mask. But yeah, a lot of the 3M ones kind of do that on my chin. That's all right, Zol. The thing is, I can understand people who don't want to eat any meat animals. The thing is, like I said, I don't mind people that aren't preachy about it. Because, you know, like with veganism, I can understand people saying that, you know, there are animals that are essentially, you know, kept in inhumane conditions for like eggs or milk or whatever. You know, I can understand veganism, but just not when it's really preachy and then when stuff's made up about it. Yeah, pigs eat anything. If you watch Deadwood, they feed lots of people to the pigs in that bacon with a human aftertaste. Polish MC1 is fine. It's very cheap and basic, but if you wanted a mask, it's a mask. Why are masks racist? I'd love to know how a mask can be racist. I mean, it's just generally, like, if you mean a gas mask, it's a bit of rubber and, you know, plastic or metal. Deadwood it's a TV series, very good TV series that lasted 3 seasons, and then very recently they did a film to finish it off because it was cancelled after series 3. But it's like based on the like Old West, Wild West. But yeah, they dump a lot of the bodies in like a pig pen so the pigs eat them. No, not Torchwood, Deadwood. Deadwood is a much better series. It's got what's it, Ian McShane in it as a bloke who swears constantly. Deadwood's like early 2000s, I think. Well, Black lives certainly do matter, but there's a lot of the movement. Like, I'm not going to get too much into politics, but it's like a lot of the actual Black Lives Matter at the more organisation level seems to be quite a Marxist organisation, doesn't it? But if you said to me, do black people deserve to be treated the same way as white people? Of course, same as any other race or whatever, The Bill was a pretty old TV series. But yeah, and the thing is, I think with a lot of the stuff like racism and that, I'm trying to think of a good way of putting this, but I think if people get too funny about talking about it, it makes often people go the other way where they then think they're being preached at, a bit like we were saying about that veganism sort of thing earlier. Oh dear. Oh dear, Danny, oh dear. I'm sure genocidal sort of authoritarian ideas are good. No, they're not. Marxism and National Socialism are both awful. Yes, Oliver, I'd agree. Every life matters. Men, women, trans people, whatever, Black people, white people, all people matter. But, this has turned into a depressing politics stream now. No, because you say stuff and spam stuff in the chat too many times, Radiac Maniac. I lent my Daniel the Band of Brothers, not my Daniel. I lent my granddad Daniel the Band of Brothers Blu-ray box set the other day, and he binge watched it in a couple of days and gave it back to me. I lent him Chernobyl and Band of Brothers, and he watched both of them like within a week. Right, okay, Danny. So you're just going to throw around horrible accusations at people. Even I said that black lives are just as important as white lives, and now support the KKK. Why don't you fuck off? Yeah. There we go. I told that Marxist what I thought of him. There we go. Well, it's technically like, if you just mean in terms of filtering respirators and gas masks, there literally isn't a difference. It's just a gas mask, an outdated term. Respirator is technically the proper term. But oh, what was that in? Was that Estonia or somewhere secret? I can't remember. Was it Lithuania or Estonia or Latvia? One of those. They filmed a lot of it, didn't they? Yes, you're correct, Stug. He was a twat. Because this is the thing. Like, I can never understand people like that, where you're like, oh, I agree with 90% of your message. Oh, you don't agree with 100% of your message, therefore you're a racist or whatever. I think how big the universe is, Eli, there's definitely some life out there. Whether or not it's intelligent, I don't know. Maybe it would just be microbes on a planet somewhere. But, that's technically an alien life form. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Daniel. I think all people should basically be treated equally, have equal rights and opportunities, But yeah, especially when people start arguing, oh, my form of extremism is good. It's like, no, if you're generally going to murder people because they don't agree with your point, that you're a pretty shitty person. Sometimes I watch videos of animals, Daniel, and I think, like, you watch videos of beluga whales and dolphins and things, and I think they're smarter than us. Yeah, the problem is, Daniel, I think it's all these stupid ideologies end up having like so many crazy people that shout the loudest join them, don't they? Well, if Radiac Maniac, you can go a load of streams without spamming stuff, I might consider it, yes. Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it, Claire? With the actual proper racists now, kind of, it's not a bad thing because so many people have overused it. Because, oh, you did a microaggression against me, I'm calling you racist. There's, like I said, Daniel, there's definitely a lot of problems in lots of countries where people aren't treated equally or don't have the same opportunities. What did Lewis say? I missed his comment. He said the problem isn't intelligent life being out there, because there's almost certainly is. The problem is it being alive at the exact same time as we are. Yeah, and it's also intelligent life out in the galaxy. As if they're smart enough to find us and they have space travel, maybe they'd deal with us. We probably have it coming as humans, because we've done pretty nasty things. I don't know, Daniel, but like I said, if really super intelligent aliens find us, I mean, assuming that there aren't aliens that just monitor us and just think, oh, we're stuck on our planet, we're not going to cause a problem. But if we get wiped out by cosmic space death ray aliens, I suppose that's a bit more of an interesting apocalypse than getting a cough and dying of a cough. But yeah, it's funny because I'll be called like KKK and Nazi by like far left people. I'll be like a Marxist and like a commie to people on the far right, or like dumb libtard or something. It's kind of funny how you're the evil person of like the opposite of all the things when you literally have none of those views. The Transylvanians from transsexual Transylvania, Peter Aaron, I would say, like Frankenfurter. What's it about? That's a very strange name for a film. It doesn't necessarily mean there's like actual political parties, Daniel. What I'm on about, and again, this is turning into a horrible politics stream now. I'm ending it in a minute anyway. This is why I don't bring up politics. But the thing is, it's kind of that thing of, it doesn't necessarily have to mean people in power. That you get random people on the internet who believe in extremist ideologies. I might at some point radioactive cow. I actually kind of like the regular therapy more because it has a wider range, doesn't it? Because in theory, the regular therapy will display sieverts and things like that on the screen. No. Then I said you need big samples, Radiac Maniac, because the strontium-90 doesn't show up any brighter on. I've got British military items from the 80s, but nothing that was definitely used in the Falklands. Oh, saying about a British military thing before I go off, and I forget to show you. My granddad gave me something today that belonged to him. I put it in my wallet so I wouldn't lose it. Which bit did I put it in? I'll have to put it somewhere really safe. There it is. His old thing from one of his jackets. That is around the right way, isn't it? That way, yeah. So yeah, that's what he served in World War II. But anyway, yeah. M80 filters. Do you mean Israeli Type 80 filters or another filter? I'll be off. He was just a private. Yeah, but yeah, he was just going through a load of like his old photo albums and stuff today, and said, "Did I want it? Otherwise it would just sit on the shelf gathering dust." So I said, "Yes, please." That's nice, Citizen Smith. Oh, the Israeli one. Unless the label's been, if the label's been pulled off, you won't know what the expiry date is. Do you any idea what the what's making the smell then, Lewis? I did not know that, Claire, but it doesn't surprise me that they'd have had a very, very large amount of soldiers that would have served in the Royal Artillery, because it was everything from like anti-tank guns to obviously generalized artillery. Yeah, I'll definitely find somewhere safe to keep it, Oliver. I might do what like Mike was saying that he was doing with some of his dad's stuff and put it in like a frame or something. That way you're not going to lose it, are you? Yeah, can you try and soak it in like some sort of bleach, Lewis, if it wouldn't damage the actual thing, just to kill any like bacteria that's on it? The mini monitor, well, the mini monitor has to have a probe, and the issue of my mini monitor is the wire got damaged for the probe, and then during the process of rewiring it, I never got it rewired properly. But the mini monitor is actually surpassed by the rate meters I've got, because the RM5 rate meters go up to 5,000 CPS, or the mini monitor's 2,000 CPS. Yeah, I saw him say that, Marcus. Just look at what, please. Doesn't that depend on the state, though, David, actually? But yeah, the problem is because all the mini monitors and that have that really outdated PET connector. So you literally have to rewire stuff if you want to use them with them now, you know, unless you find an old thing still in supply. That doesn't make sense. Search for your children with Geiger counters. That's not what a Geiger counter does. It doesn't find missing children. Yeah, it's very strange, Lewis, isn't it? Is that, if it's the Mark II, is that the old one from the Northern Ireland, like second generation Northern Ireland vest? I don't know about the more modern Thermo Fisher ones, actually. I assume they did eventually go to BNC connectors or something. But yeah, the PET connectors are like the older version of BNC connectors, and they're really irritating because they're essentially, you know, they're fine as a connector in themselves, but it's just annoying that nothing uses them anymore. So you've kind of got these obsolete, you know, connections. Let me just see what ones go in, what they're called, the ones that go in the ECBA, Lewis. That was the ballistic shield dropping down there. All right. Does this have like a mark number? Is it this size or bigger than this or smaller than this? This side away from body, handle with care. These certainly don't smell. Or not of anything interesting anyway. Is it that sort of thing? I don't even know what the name of the Soviet BNC connector clone is. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know what that's from then. Obviously, like you said, it's probably from some sort of vest, but yeah. Like I said, it could just be that, like, the fabric on that, yeah. Try soaking it in some sort of bleach. Because I don't think the ceramic would get damaged, would it, by doing that? Yeah, I've got 2 riot shields and a ballistic shield. I'm pretty sure you can have flares in the UK. I think there's some rules around flare guns, but anyway, yeah, I'll be off now. For the people saying how would you donate, you can donate via Patreon below, or you can donate via Super Chats. I don't generally accept items off of people unless I know them a bit more with talking to them. I don't have a CFF free filter, Jovan, but I completely do not believe that if they're the French ones. Because, yeah, if it's, try it for yourself, but if it's a NATO filter, it will be RD40 1/7, or whatever they call it, 1/7 twist, whereas GOST is RD40X4. So in theory, they should definitely not connect with each other. But if you get one, have a see. But I think a lot of the people saying it fits are probably just forcing them on. Anyway, yeah, see you all. Have a good evening. Hope you all enjoyed the stream. Other than the politics bit that was just depressing as always.